it is time to develop my film. I have loaded my film in my tank, which means I can bring it out into the light. And the tank is specially designed so that light doesn't get into the tank to ruin my film, but I can pour chemistry in and out, and I am ready to go. I'm at the sink in room 208 with all my chemistry laid out in front of me, and I've got the steps up on the wall that I'm going to follow from step 1 all the way down to step number 7. I've got some chemistry under the sink that I'll explain in a little bit. I'm going to have some help from my darkroom clock over here. Maybe I'll start with the clock. The clock is always on. You can see the on-off switch right here. And the hands are designed so that the outer hand here moves every time I click at one space, and every time I click the hand, that begins the countdown of the second hand for exactly 1 minute. So if I have a 1 minute step, I click it once, and you can see the second hand starts to sweep all the way around. If I have a 5 minute step, I switch it to 5 minutes, and if I need to go to 10 minutes, I'll move it to 10. So however many minutes I need is how many times I click the outside hand in order to activate the darkroom clock. When it gets back to 0, it'll stop. Timing is important when it comes to developing your film, so keep in mind that you need a reliable timer, and this one is always here in case you don't have a watch or a phone that has a stopwatch. So I've got my film in my tank, and I'm going to run through the steps that are up here on the wall. The first step is a water pre-wet. And each step up here has a designated amount of time that it should take. And my water pre-wet is 1 minute. And so what I could do is I can pour water into my tank, or since I'm by myself, I'm going to take the hose, and I'm actually just going to put the hose in the tank, and I'm going to turn that on, not full blast, but I'm going to turn it on until it starts to flow out the top. And I'm going to count that as a pre-wetting phase because it's rinsing the film off, which gets it ready for my next step, which is developer. Film developer, as indicated up here, the time for the developer step changes depending on the type of film that you're using. We are using Arista EDU Ultra 400 film, which is going to take a developing cycle of 13 minutes. So this is where the timer comes in. Very handy. I'm all done with my water pre-wet, so I'm going to pull out my hose, and I'm going to dump the water down the drain. Water is the only liquid that we dump down the drain when we're developing film. Everything else gets reused. I've got a funnel here set up so that I can put my developer back in the tank, and any chemical that I pull out from down here goes back into that tank when I'm done with that step. So I take my developer, and I'm going to pour it in. If I pour it too fast, it'll overflow, so I'm going to make sure that I don't pour it too quickly. And as soon as that developer touches the film, the developer starts developing film. I use 20 ounces of chemistry in a regular tank that can hold 1 or 2 rolls of film. Even if you're only developing 1 roll of film, use 20 ounces, the full amount, for the whole tank. I come over to my clock. 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. And that's my 13 minutes. And then I'm going to look in my supplies over here, and I'm going to grab one of these. These sticks go into the top of the tank. Let me zoom in a little bit. And it actually connects with the center post that's in there. And that's going to allow me to agitate the film inside the tank, which is a fancy word for moving the film around. And up here on the wall, there are 2 separate instances of a notes about agitation. You must agitate your film while it is in the tank. For each step, you agitate continuously for the first minute, and then agitate for 10 to 15 seconds of each minute thereafter. What that means is when I pour developer in my tank, the first thing I'm going to do for the first minute is I'm going to take this stick that I've got stuck in there, and I can feel it turning the center post in my tank, which means it's moving my film around. And that movement is crucial to even developing, but you're also going to agitate in every step after this, okay? After my minute is up, I let it sit. I look over at my clock, and I've got 10, the second hand is down to the 30. So what I'm going to do is that every time the second hand gets back to the top of the clock, I'm going to come back to my tank and I'm going to agitate for 10 more seconds. And then after my 10 seconds are up, I'm going to let it sit, and I'm going to keep doing that every minute on the 0 until my time for developing is up. Then what I'll do is I will pour my developer back into the developer bottle, which is this brown bottle right here, okay? And then I'm ready for my next steps. And my next step is going to be step 3, which is stop bath. Stop bath is a yellow chemical that is found under the sink. While my film is developing, I can actually go under the sink and get that chemical like this. Oh, let me zoom back out. I take my graduated cylinder. I can see where it says 20 milliliters, no, 20 ounces, sorry, 20 ounces right there. And when it gets to the top, I can cut that off. I bring that up here, pour it into my tank. And now I am doing the same process for each step, no matter how long it is. So stop bath is 1 minute long, which means 1 minute of agitation. Fixer, which is step 4, which is down here. Film fixer is 5 minutes, 1 minute of agitation, and then 10 seconds of agitation every minute after that. After fixer, I go to another water rinse, which I can use the hose for if I want to. And then step 6 is my fixer remover, which is 3 minutes for that stage. And that is the next tank down here underneath the sink. So my 3 tanks go stop bath, fixer, fixer remover with a rinse in between fixer and fixer remover, which is labeled on the wall. And then I've got one final step, which is a water wash. And I'll show you how to rinse film in just a minute. With my stop bath though, which is still in here, once my minute is up and I've done the little twist on the top, I'm going to come down here, I'm going to remove my lid and to the stop bath, and I'm going to pour my stop bath back into the tank. We are always reusing chemistry because if we don't, we will run out. For my final rinse, if I'm developing film by myself, I can use the hose and I can turn that sucker on and rinse my film for 10 minutes. If there is more than one person at the sink at a time, you can also rinse your film in this film washer, which connects to this other faucet hiding behind in the corner of the sink. If I turn that on, you'll notice that that tank will actually start to fill up over there. And this will fit up to 8 rolls of film in it, so that more than one tank full of film can be rinsed all at the same time. That is step 7 for this water wash. And once my film has rinsed for 10 minutes, I'm ready to take it out and put it in the film cabinet, and I will talk about drying film and finishing up the film developing process in my next video.